Welcome back to the SimTech podcast, the show where we explore the tools, people, and ideas shaping the world of clinical simulation. I'm your host, Craig, and today we're shining a spotlight on one of the most anticipated events in the SimTech calendar, SimTech South 2025. Joining me are two of the driving forces behind the event, Russell and Ian, who are here to give us an exclusive look behind the scenes. We'll be talking about what to expect this year, what makes SimTech South different, and why you should absolutely be there. Whether you're a seasoned SimTech, new to the field, or just curious about the direction of simulation-based education, this episode is packed with insights, inspiration, and a sneak peek of what to come. So grab a brew, settle in, and let's get to it. Hello, and welcome to another episode at the SimTech podcast. Today we're jumping into an event that has been planned and I suspect a lot of you know about, and it's called the SimTech South, or words thereabout. And to help me to do that, I've brought along a couple of guests. Russell, do you want to introduce yourself and maybe tell me what the exact title of the event's called?
Hi, so I'm Russell Sinclair, and I am the learning technologist here at Oxford Brookes. And me and my team have been organising South SimTech Day 2025.
Yeah, and because you've done it before, haven't you? Did you run one last year as well?
Yeah, so we ran the first event last year. We had about 4 months' notice to organise and put that event together, and following on from that, following on from the success of that event, we've come up with South SimTech Day 2025 this year with an actual year's lead time, and so hopefully we're going to build a bigger and better event this year.
Cool. And Ian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thanks. My name's Ian Alexander Shields, and I'm a co-founder of an Icelandic virtual training startup, and we're first-time attenders at South SimTech Day.
Wow. I mean, Russell, where did you find him?
We find through LinkedIn actually. He reached out to us following a LinkedIn post, I think, following our South SimTech Day last year, and then we've kind of been talking and working out if we can do a little bit of a collaboration since then. And then this year we're really excited to have them coming along. So they've got a really fantastic product, and they want to get some technician input and look at developing some more collaborations with other potential users as they develop this product they've got.
Wow. And can we expect more? I don't want to say random users from foreign countries coming in. Where do you kind of find these ideas and the inspiration for the people that you invite to your events?
So last year's event, we focused on vendors who we worked very, very closely with. So we had Generate, we had Laerdale, we had Limbs and things. We had some smaller companies. We had Oxford Medical Simulation. They came along as well. This year we were trying to grow it, so we've doubled the number of vendors who we invited along, because we're trying to keep this event free for technicians to attend. We've asked our vendors to kind of pay to come along and actually help support this event. And a lot
So you don't have one sponsor; you kind of have them all kind of sponsoring the event. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So each sponsor we requested a payment to come along, which has given us our pot of money, which is what we've put towards our catering costs, our insurance, and some travel and other bits and pieces. We're also hoping to have some prizes at the end of the day as well, and in exchange for some feedback, so we can potentially build on, maybe start planning our SimTech Day 2026, but that's still in process.
Okay, so why then? Why do we want a SimTech South event? I mean, there's loads of events going on out there throughout the year. You know, we've got ASPE. I know we've got, we have SimTech Live. You know, we've even got a SimTech North going on in the planning. What makes SimTech South stand out or a little bit different?
Well, before COVID, we used to hold a few events. Anyway, there was a couple of little events, SimTech focused events, where the idea was that people will come together, get to know each other. Because the thing with a lot of simulation technicians is we tend to work either on our own or in small teams, and we can be kind of siloed. The thing is, our jobs are varied. For instance, this week I've been asked to be a makeup artist, I've been asked to be a patient actor, I've been asked to be IT support and event managing this. And it's not really feasible for one person to know how to do all of this stuff off the back. And this is where I think that networking is really important for us, because it means that you've got a group of people who you know who might have the experience that you need, who you can call upon, so you can actually ask them for help if you're stuck, ask them if they've got any experience, ask them if they know how to simulate a particular thing that an academic has just come and requested from them at very short notice.
Yeah.
That's the
I mean,
kind of idea.
Ian, I mean, you come from, where did you say you come from? From Iceland, was it?
Well, I'm originally from Belfast,
From
but
Belfast, but you're in.
yeah, the accent sticks with you for the rest of your life. But I've been 15 years in Iceland.
And what's simulation like over in Iceland?
I would say that it's quite similar to what we've seen in other territories. There's just a national hospital, which is the only large hospital in a country with it's got under 400,000 inhabitants. So that would be a medium-sized UK city, or even on the small side in England. And at that national hospital, there is a dedicated simulation centre run by the University of Iceland. And of course, this is often the way that the university and the hospital, they're so intertwined in medical education. It's very hard to tell if there is any difference, but it's a good centre. It's probably got around 7 or 8 different simulation capable rooms. Yeah, I'd say
Well,
it's
it
pretty
makes sense then that you have to look overseas then, especially as a business. I mean, you can't run a business with that, with that kind
exactly.
of population.
It almost from the outset we had to look overseas. Our first real customer was the University of Gothenburg in Sweden, and I think we were quite surprised by how fast they moved. We had no product, and from the first call with them, we had developed and delivered our training product in 4 months. So the reputation of the industry being like a monolith that never moves on, it's a mixed picture. It's not always the case. Sometimes it can be really quite dynamic.
I mean, have you heard of any other countries or anything as as technicians running conferences for technicians? Because I know there's a lot of conferences out there for simulation in general, but are anywhere doing technician conferences?
Absolutely. We were speaking to a doctor in Marrakesh yesterday, and she's running a new event called the Pediatric Simulation World Cup. It's an
Wow.
event. It's an event of her creation, and I think she would have bought our solution there and then on the call, which is not normal. And it's. I think that the Middle East and Asia are moving multiples faster on new simulation technology than we are in the West. However, in the West, that is where the bulk of experience lies. And so there is this sort of juncture, whether and I do think that South SimTech Day and ASPE, these events are key. We know CESAM in Valencia is maybe more academic, but again, SimTechs are often PhD and academic people, and therefore, yeah, that the landscape of events is fairly healthy in Europe, and I think we're quite proud of the fact that the UK is leading in that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, Russell, how do you? out of all of the suppliers throughout all the world, how do you decide on, right, these are the people that I want to come to my event? Are you going off what you find interesting, or are you going to other techs saying, look, what do you guys want to come into this conference? Or how do you scope and streamline such a wide variety of suppliers?
Initially, it's been down to who I've known in the industry, because I've been in SimTech for 13 years, I think it is now. So a lot of the names have stayed the same, even though they've kind of moved around different companies. Is something I did find. So, as I said, last year we focused on companies who were working with closely at Oxford Brookes, but because we wanted to grow the event this year, we needed more vendors, because partly that's going to attract people. We had Layerdale specifically last year, but then we had people saying, hey, but why don't you have Gomard here as well? So that's one of the reasons why we've reached out. We've got Gomard coming along in addition to Layerdale. Um, and then we had other people like Kieran Feeney, who's obviously running Sim, and he runs Sim and Skills, and he's running his own SimTech conference, which is going to be a few weeks after ours. Actually, that's only in a few weeks' time, so scratch that. I think it's sooner than ours. But he reached out and he said he was really enthusiastic about actually supporting technician-driven initiatives and conferences, and so.
I mean, do you speak to them and go, look, what's on your timetable? This is our timetable, because there's got to be a little bit of overlap. But what you don't want to do is do the exact same thing.
Well, it was one of the funny things about last year was we announced our conference, our SimTech Day South 2024, and the next day on LinkedIn, I had a call from Kieran saying, is there any chance you can move the date of your event? We were too far along. As it turns out, he announced his event. It was running the day after our one.
Wow, that's
It was kind of lucky that they both didn't entirely clash. And I do know that there was SimTechs up and down the country who came to our event and then jumped on the train and then went off up to the Midlands to go to Kieran's event. This year we actually coordinated a little bit, so we checked that when his date was, and we made sure that ours was a few weeks later. But sorry, you were going to say?
No, just saying, it's so weird. I mean, one year you can have no conferences, and then the year after, I mean, this year is super busy with conferences. I know there's at least 4 or 5 that I want to go to. But what I'm worried about is with a little bit of saturation, numbers are inevitably going to fall with people with interest. I mean, how much interest have you had so far?
Reasonable amount, bearing in mind that we put out the sign up. I think it was not last week, the week before last, and then I pushed out another post yesterday. We've got 30 people already signed up, which is great. We've still got a couple of months to go. I'm going to keep.
What's the max? What can you take up to?
We're aiming to get 100. If we can get 100, then I'll be over the moon. We had
And what's
60
your hard
last
cap?
year.
What can't you handle?
So we had SimNet here a couple of weeks ago, and we had close to 200 delegates. I think basically the hard cap is going to be the lecture theatre seating capacity.
Yeah.
I think we'll be very lucky to get anywhere near that number, but actually at the moment, I think if we can get 100, that's my target. I feel like that's reasonable, sustainable growth from last year, and then if we can continue that, then maybe we'll have to look at a new venue for next year. But there's thoughts about where that might be already. So,
I mean, how do you decide on your event, on where you want to hold it? What's your what key things do you look for in the venue?
I mean, this year we're holding it here on our Marston Road Health and Life Sciences campus. The main draw to that is obviously all of our kit is here. We've got enough space to support a smallish conference, I think, and obviously there's no venue hiring fees because we deal with the room bookings here. So I mean that massively reduces the amount of money we need to raise to actually fund this event. The majority of the income that we've generated so far is going to go on kind of some travel expenses, but most of it's going on to food and catering just to make sure that actually we can keep this event as free as possible. Maybe put some packs together, and as I said before, I'm hoping to get a few prizes with whatever money we've got left to keep those people who do attend stick right to the end, because we want to get proper feedback as
Yeah,
well.
of
Again, we had
course.
really good feedback response last year.
What kind of prizes can you share any?
So last year we had MetaQuest headset. I'm hoping to get a couple of MetaQuest 3 headsets to put on our wheel of names for anyone who completes our feedback forms, and then
Yeah, of course, everyone.
Yeah.
Well, especially techs love VR, don't they? Like, let's be
so
honest.
it makes a reasonable price, and actually the 3S I think is really reasonably priced for what it actually does. So
Yeah, the price point's coming down on them all. And what can people expect on the day? Then what's the timetable looking like? I mean, you don't have to go through it. Just like what things
So-
are you what are you looking forward to on the day?
what am I looking forward to? I'm actually looking forward to all of it. And the thing is about last year is I thought that it was all packed.
I mean, that's the problem with conferences, isn't it? I assume you're going to do normal format where you put 5 or 6 things on at a certain time, and people
Well,
can kind of pick and choose which kind of path they want to go through.
Yeah, so we've got half a dozen workshops. However, we're going to have 2 workshop sessions throughout the day. So we're going to have a morning workshop session, afternoon workshop session. The delegates are going to have to choose they're going to have to choose between 3 workshops that are going to be running at the same time. So in the morning, we've got our actors workshop for those technicians who end up finding themselves on the wrong side of the glass, where they are acting as their HCAs, acting as their patients, acting as the relatives, for example. But we've got our own professional actor, Peter Hines, who's going to be running that workshop with Katie Rogers, who a lot of other Simtechs seem to know, but she is most famous, I think, for her makeup and moulage.
Yeah.
She wanted to branch out into acting this time round. We've got Lindsay Foxcroft from Real FX. So she used to work, I think it was for Trauma FX, kind of doing makeup and moulage, but she's taken a career break. But just started up her own little startup. But we've got her running moulage workshops both in the morning and the afternoon for those people who want to learn a little
Are they
bit
going to
more
get a
about
little bit hands-on with all the makeup and stuff? Are they going to get to use
Very
some?
much so, yeah. So we're going to be focusing on kind of sculpting wounds in the morning using silicone, and in the afternoon we're going to be looking at burns, also made out of silicone. The final morning workshop, though, we've also got Mary Holding, who's on the ASPE Executive Committee, and she's got a colleague called Siobhan, I think it was. Double check that. But they're looking into professional writing, both for conferences and research, and that's going to be looking at how to actually write an abstract to get yourself.
It's going to be a hard sell, that one, especially if you're putting it on with other moulage workshops and stuff.
Maybe I wonder, because actually a lot of the justification for being able to go to the larger conferences like ASPE, certainly in my own case, is I've needed to write my own abstracts, so I can say, look, actually I'm presenting this. I need
Don't
some
people
support
just
to actually
stick it
go and do that.
into ChatGPT these days?
I use it for editing, but I mean, a lot of the work that I do. The other thing is about it is Simtechs have a wealth of knowledge and a massively varied kind of job anyway. We want to encourage them to actually write this up and say, actually, what you're doing is worth writing up. Make a poster about it. But you can then, if you can do that, you can use that as a justification to go to conferences, maybe get some funding from your employer. Because a lot of them, people are like, well, why are you going to this? You're just doing it for the jolly. But if you can actually say, well, I've submitted work, I'm going to be presenting at this place, I need some
Yeah, I
support so
mean,
I
it's
can
a very
actually
common
go
question,
there.
isn't it, on the WhatsApp group is, do anyone have any tips to writing this? Because we're just not used to writing it that way. And I think it's even more specific for ASPE, the way that they like it written. I think it'll be really useful, actually. And obviously, we brought Ian along today as well, because you've invited Ian.
Yeah.
Ian, what do you want to get out of going to the conference as a supplier?
Yeah, I think it's just connections for us first and foremost. Also, our company Mirno, we're developing our product. We're not really selling, and therefore, who are we making a solution for? And so if we don't meet the SimTechs and we don't understand what's their pressing need, then it's going to have a negative impact on the direction we go in. So by hearing, directly from sim technicians and people who are, we think that the people who go to events like South SimTech Day are the motivated ones, maybe what we'd even call the innovators. They come even before the early adopters. They're the ones who will actually, like Russell, work directly with us on the real early building blocks of a solution. And so, yeah, to circle back to the beginning of my answer, it's connections.
And are you running a workshop, or are you going to have like a stall situation going on?
We don't know yet. Ultimately,
I can fill
we
you in on
are,
that one.
yeah, we're a bunch of rascals, and we are doing some. I don't know how much Russell maybe wants to share what we're up to, but it is borderline naughty, but it's quite exciting.
Ooh,
What do you
nice.
think, Russell?
I think you can share.
So,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was going to say, just we are going to be having a show and tell slot in the middle of our day, and we were going to have Ian and David kind of leading our show and tell session with their product, because actually I think it's a super exciting thing. But I want to let Ian tell you a bit more about it.
Yeah, so what we've developed is our company make AI patients, and they're basically an AI augmented virtual patient. We make them in Unreal Engine because we have a background in the video game industry. And really, our company had this kind of eureka a few years ago. We were trying to do VR sim like many other companies. And our takeaway from it was that the content of the scene was just not good enough. And so ultimately, when we say content, we're really talking about the characters, the virtual nurses, the virtual doctors, and the virtual patient. But we noticed that all of the people that were testing the system were laser focused on the patient. And so that was our sort of key decision was what if we were to make the patient as good as they hope and think it is, and just throw away all the rest and we'll just do the patient, and then we'll work out what we do with that later. So what we've done is we've created a full physiological simulation, and that means that all the physiology that is relevant to how the patient appears in front of the learner is interconnected and realistic. And instead of this more traditional approach of selling content, like I've created a scene, a scenario, and it's kind of on rails, and you can maybe do this, and it goes to a different flow chart, and it reacts a certain way. Instead of that, we just don't have any of that at all. We don't create scenarios really at all. Instead, we've used AI to allow the sim technicians to create their own patients. And if you think more realistically about like what a patient is like when you just come upon them in hospital, they're not a scenario, they're a person, they're a patient, and they have illness, they have a physiological condition, and they have some behaviors, some personality, and then you just have to work it out and you have to treat them. So that's what our solution really is let's just do the patient, and then let's let teams work together to solve it as a problem-based learning exercise. And how they can access our patients is we have this product Cinematic, and Cinematic puts the virtual patients onto a 55 or 65 inch touchscreen, and we lay it flat like a hospital bed, and they can gather around and assess and treat the patient that way. So it's very natural. It doesn't really have anything like a skill curve. You don't really need to learn it. We have no UI. You don't have menus or anything like that. You just directly manipulate and touch the patient. If you poke them in a wound, they'll yell and scream, and if you talk to them, they'll talk back if they're able. And so that's really like what we're working on. It's still very much in development. It's really relying a lot on developments in AI as well. We can really take big steps forward from one month to the next. And so it's really critical to have allies in this. And we think Russell is, one of the leading ones for us. And we think South SimTech Day then is this just opportunity to meet more potential allies and have them guide, like, what should we do next? Because that's really our question. My co-founder David and I, no medical background. We are really, really reliant on our medical advisors and our co-collaborators in institutions like Oxford Brookes.
Wow, I mean, it sounds really exciting. Again, wish I was a little bit more south so I could come for the day. But at the end of it all, Russell, I mean, how are you going to know if it's been successful?
Well, to be fair, if we get more than the 60 technicians that we had last year, then I'm going to class that as a success, because we would have technically, on paper, grown the event, both in the number of vendors that we've got and in the number of SimTechs as well that are actually attending.
Yeah.
So that's
I
kind of
mean,
my
is it just
low
techs
bar.
is it only techs that are allowed to come?
No, I've been marketing it towards SimTechs, partly because, generally speaking, they have trouble getting funding, paying for tickets. If they do want to come, a lot of them I know from last year said they actually had to take it as a day's annual leave and they paid for themselves to get there. So I'm marketing it towards SimTechs, but there's small teams of kind of dedicated simulation academics who want to come along and support the SimTechs. They're more than welcome to. But the key part of this event is it's trying to bring a large number of SimTechs together. So hopefully they can find someone else who's on their patch, works closely, works in a similar sort of location. So actually they can kind of get to know each other. Just see if they've got like anywhere where they can help each other out. Last year, for example, the the infamous SimTech WhatsApp group, which I think has got about 300 odd users on it, and it's constantly buzzing in my pocket, grew by another 100 odd users just because people came along. They who didn't know that it existed. They came along to the event because it was the SimTech networking event, and they
Yeah, the
actually
people just
discovered.
working in the little silos, aren't they? And not knowing what
And
everyone's
that's my
doing.
point. I'm trying to get people to come out of those silos and actually get involved in SimTechs as a wider network, get to know other people kind of in the area. So perhaps there's a chance for collaboration, even if it's just down to equipment sharing or just saying, "Help, I'm stuck. I don't know how to do this. Can you give me a hand here?"
I mean, how are you finding those people to advertise the event for if they're not on the WhatsApp group or they're not linked into any of the networking sites? How do you find them to even invite them along? I mean, that must be quite difficult.
I mean that's a challenge. I mean, I've just been trying to spread the word as far and wide. So I mean, obviously it's going on the WhatsApp group, which I've told people to share this with anyone they happen to know. I've been sending it out on LinkedIn, but when I've been doing it on LinkedIn, also I've been tagging in all of our vendors and all the people who are kind of interested, and then they've been reposting it. So hopefully it's going to reach a wider audience, and hopefully we'll then kind of catch a few more people who maybe missed it last year. That's
Yeah.
one of the points of growing it.
Is this a reoccurring event? Is it going to be another one next year?
I really hope so. I
Yeah.
do really hope so. Last year was a success, I think. This year, obviously, we're trying to grow it. Next year, we've got a new building here at Oxford Brookes, and there's rumours that we might be able to use that as our venue for next year. But I'd like it to be a reoccurring thing. I'd like it to be something that people look out for in their calendar. And I know there are, as you said, there is more conferences running this year. I mean, HPSN I think is back this year. Obviously, we've got Sim and Skills One, rumours of SimTech North. But I'd like people to actually think of this one first and say, actually, yeah, we run a good event. I'm hoping to have a social event after this one as well, because that was something people fed back last year.
Yeah, has Dan been in touch about the SimTech North event and maybe picking your brains a little bit?
I literally WhatsApped him half an hour ago and said, "Look, have you got any new updates?" He says he does now have a sponsor. I think he said it was Limbs.
Yeah, he's got
and
limbs and things
It's
for
coming
a
along,
sponsor.
but I mean, details are currently sparse. But I mean, if he wants to pick my brains, or if he wants to do some sort of collaboration, I've already got it in my calendar as to save the date anyway. So I am planning on seeing if I can get away to get up there that day.
I mean, there's as everyone can imagine, there's a lot of work that goes into planning a conference like this. Why do you do it, Russell?
I mean, the really short answer
Yeah, the short answer
was 2 years ago. My manager told me that he wants to run a SimTech event, and then he kind of let us run with it, and that's kind of where it came from.
I mean, you must get something. You must get something out of it. I mean, there's a lot of effort. No, I can't imagine anyone's making you do this.
Well, this is it. And actually, after the first one, I mean, the fact that we actually took the initiative and we built something that worked. I mean, yeah, there was a few teething issues, but actually, I think we've learned from them. But actually, I like the fact that we got this event. We had such a good response last year, and I just want to keep doing that because I love Simtex getting together and networking, and it's just challenging. Certainly, like this year with ASPE, I mean, there's rumours that there's not going to be so much technician funding going around, and that's going to reduce the number of people who are actually able to attend to it. So, actually, looking at these free events, and especially if they're focused on technicians, what they do, how they work, I just think it feels like it's just breaking out of those silos, and it's just giving everyone a chance to actually get to know each other and say, actually, you're not on your own, are you?
I spoke to Smart Scout sponsor the Techs again this year. You know, they've been doing it year after year, and you know, again, they're only a small company out there. So they're just hoping that another company comes and takes on the mantle, but it looks like it's probably a little bit late in the year now, isn't it, for that kind of stuff to happen. So when you set out to plan the event or the conference, does it look like what you had envisioned? Because obviously there's going to be loads of different barriers for you to go through, and it ultimately becomes this thing of its own. Are you close to what you wanted?
I think so. So as I said, we got some really good feedback last year about what they liked, what they didn't like, what we could improve on. And so we used that as our basis, and then did a little bit more market research via the WhatsApp group. Just filled out forms like, what do you guys want to see? And then use that as our base. We then reached out to people who we felt were kind of specialists in their areas and who were capable of running these workshops or talking. And that took a little bit of time, but after we did that, we also kind of had a very small focus group who we just kind of soundboarded our ideas off of. Dan Blood, for example, Charles Everard, Alex Saunders, kind of just bouncing ideas off of them. So we didn't feel like we were going off on the wrong tangent, I guess. And I feel like we've actually got a timetable based on what people were asking for last year, and that's what, more than anything, what I wanted to achieve. So hopefully build it and they will come. And based on the fact that actually I've been listening to them, I'm really hoping people will come because
I mean, I think we've already spoke about it, but where's the risk? What could stop this from happening or reduce its effectiveness? I think you said something about the numbers. You know, if you didn't get enough people attending, is there anything else that's, you know, a big risk over there that you can't douse?
The thing is because we have run this via our vendors, I guess they're the ones who are sponsoring it. They're the ones who are kind of cumulatively paying for it. I think that's our biggest risk. We've promised them that we're going to have a large event with an awful lot of Simtex who want to come and see their products, and if nobody turns up, they're going to be going,
yeah,
"Where's my Simtex?" So
dragging people off the street saying, "Quick, get in there! You're a SimTech, get in there."
Well, that's it. And we promised them a couple of hours where actually people can spend time in the vendors hall as well. We've got a new bigger vendors hall this year where we're going to be where they're all going to be in one area, and we've strategically decided that at least our morning tea, coffee, and cookies are going to be served in the same place that the vendors are. So there'll be like a solid 45 minutes you can have a chat, and then hopefully then over lunch as well, people will go back if they want to see anything in particular.
Is there going to be any social element to this after the event?
That is in the pipeline at the moment. We've got a wonderful little pub across the road where I'm proposing that following our event finishing at 4:00, that people basically gather across the road. They do really good pizzas, really good burgers, and that. And then I'm thinking maybe 7:30, 8ish, golf. Big group of us go play some junkyard golf, but I need to get an idea of what the numbers are and
Yeah.
see how feasible that is.
Until 200 texts descend on this pub that's designed for 50 people.
I'm going to be booking it in advance. I'm saying, look,
Yeah.
I've got a big group coming. Can you help
Right.
us out? And if not, there's going to be a flyer or something like with other local vendors. But the junkyard golf in the middle of the town is fantastic. It's just a nice place to go. It's fun.
Coming up to the end of the time, as told you, it'd fly by as they always do. If people want to find out more information or how to apply to come to the event, how do they do it?
So as I said, been posting it on LinkedIn. There's a QR code and a link. Also been putting it out on the WhatsApp group as well. Once again, the details are there to sign up.
Like I say, I'll put the link in the description as well for this. So anyone that's listening that wants to listen or apply, they can just click on the link and it'll take them to this QR code kind of MS Forms kind of situation where they just apply. When will they hear back if they've got a ticket or not?
At the moment, everyone's got a ticket.
So everyone coming along, happy days. And as you said, it's completely free. And what about kind of accommodation? What's the accommodation deal?
Accommodation deal at the moment is probably travel lodges, I'm afraid, at the moment. But actually, there's a good number of hotels around, also little bed and breakfasts in the close vicinity as well. And also the bus links are really good in and around Oxford, so it doesn't really matter if you're a little bit further out. Buses and the transport's really good for getting to Marston Road. So.
All right, well, Brill. Well, gentlemen, it's end of the time, but if you would like to add anything else that we haven't mentioned already, Russell, you got anything to say before we sign off?
I just want people to save the date and come and see us on the day. Last year was fantastic, but we've built on it and learned. So I'm really hoping that we'll just get more people than we had last year.
I'm almost certain you will. These events, very rare, although we've said there's a lot, but there's still few and far between, aren't there, really? Yeah. And I'm sure you're going to be overwhelmed with people that want to come. Ian, anything to say before we sign off?
Yeah, I mean, I think these events are few and far between for us working out of Iceland, but there are bigger global events, but we think that, it's really the FaceTime and the frank conversations that we'd be able to have at an event like South Tech Day means that there's few better. And so that's why we're sort of using our few resources to make it to this one, because we really think this is probably where lasting connections can actually be built.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, guys, for coming. Hopefully, like I say, I'm going to put this out to the whole world, and you're going to be inundated with thousands of people that want to come all the way from America and stuff. All right, well, thank you very much, guys. We'll hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of the SimTech Podcast. A huge thank you to Russell and Ian for joining me and giving us a glimpse into what's shaping up to be an incredible SimTech South 2025. If you're a simulation technician, educator, or just passionate about healthcare innovation, this is definitely an event to mark on your calendar. We'll drop all the details in the episode description, so be sure to check that out. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to the SimTech Podcast wherever you're listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, share it with a fellow sim enthusiast. Until next time, stay curious and stay connected and keep simming.